Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Young, as you probably know, I was one of those that was part of the bipartisan negotiating team that put together the infrastructure bill. Our largest single investment was in highways. You can imagine our surprise when we see the Department of Transportation indicating that the highway money can't be used for increasing capacity of highways. This direction flies in the face of our intent and our needs. I recognize there are some states that aren't growing and may not need additional capacity: New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island, and so forth. But there are other states that are growing fast: South Carolina, Florida, my state of Utah, fastest growing state in the nation over the last decade. We need to increase the capacity in our highways, or we're going to not see the economic growth which we projected as being part of this bill. Could you please get back to me and other members of our bipartisan group on progress on this front and what the status will actually be?
Senator, the ranking member has brought this to my attention today. I will absolutely look into this, and thank you for your work on that piece of legislation.
Thank you. A broader topic, which is, well, I have a 6-foot chart in my office that looks at going back to 2000 BC, which looks at the coming and going of great civilizations over time. And there is a common characteristic of civilizations in decline and that ultimately collapse, and that is that they end up spending far more than they take in. They're able to do that because other nations see them as being strong and loan money to them. They inevitably have a massive inflation in their economy. By doing so, they devalue their currency. At some point, their currency ceases being the reserve currency of the world. It is a real concern for many of us to see us year after year spend more money than we take in. And it is a precursor of economic calamity. Right now, we're seeing the economic impact being showered on the people of America that are suffering with very high rates of inflation. I was frankly alarmed that the numbers were not familiar to you and to your deputy director. The national debt is $29.9 trillion. It's not in the 30s. It will be. The projected deficits are roughly $1 trillion a year on a normal basis. If we have COVID relief packages, it kicks those numbers even larger. This is an ongoing threat to our nation and to the well-being of our citizens, and has to be a priority for you and for the administration. I would note that about 1/3 of federal spending is the portion that's part of the budget that you work on, that we vote on. 2/3 is automatic, so-called non-discretionary: Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and interest. Contrary to what you indicated in your testimony, our interest rates have not been about the same over the last 30 years. They've come down dramatically and are now ticking back up. As a matter of fact, Bill Clinton called me after I lost my race back in 2012 and said his biggest concern was that interest rates going back to their normative level would take our interest payments to be even greater than our military spending. So this is a major issue that you need to focus on. I would encourage you and hope that you will include in the analysis and reports you provide not just the 1/3 that we vote on, but the 2/3 that we do not vote on, and project where that's going to be heading over the coming decade. This will determine whether we're able to keep up with other nations of the world and maintain our lead as the hope and guide for democracy throughout the world. Will you make this a priority of your effort to see what the total spending is and to see how our entitlements are affecting what our total debt and total deficit will be?
Senator Romney, you have my commitment to do that, and we have done that. Even off budget items like Social Security, our budget fully reflected what the total outlays of the federal government are. We think that is the only way to present a unified budget. We did that in the 22 budget. We will do that again in the 23 budget.
I very much underscore the importance of this for all of us. We simply cannot keep going on spending trillions of dollars more than we take in without suffering high rates of inflation into the future and potentially losing our lead in the world. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.